Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like Cardi B just set off a bomb in the gossip game, and the blast is shaking every corner of the internet. Word is, there's a wild leaked tape tied to none other than Saweetie. And baby, she's now hitting back with a $50 million lawsuit.
Oh, Happy New Year's. He was like, Happy New Year's, I love you. Like, you've been killing this. Like, keep going, da-da-da. He's so, like, drunk that he misinterprets the call.
This ain't your everyday tea. This is nuclear level drama.
The internet was talking and you were quiet.
I was quiet because one thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna find out the truth. And you know that I was finding out that truth. If I entertain something that I know is not true on the internet, people be like, oh, it is true because you're addressing me. But when I don't address it, it's true as well. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just not gonna entertain. And at the end of the day, I know what's going on in my house.
Now, let's rewind, because these Offset and Saweetie whispers didn't just pop up overnight. Nah. Folks have been side-eyeing this story since way back in 2021. Remember when PVO dropped that messy lyric, "You butted the gang," and the blogs went crazy?
And y'all know Quavo and Offset are family. So at what point would you think that that would be any valid revenge? Whether you knew Cardi or not, knowing that this man has a wife and kids at home is crazy to even go for that. The fact that you went for your ex's family member, on top of your friend, dang near family, because it was a whole, you know what I mean? Your family's husband, where did that make sense at? Honestly, I'm not surprised because, you know, Saweetie had got caught cheating on Quavo with Chris Brown. If I'm not mistaken, he was talking to somebody at the time.
Yeah, that line poured gasoline on an already burning rumor that Offset was getting too cozy with Saweetie while Cardi was pregnant. Cardi wasn't having it, though. She clapped back hard, letting the world know, "I know what's going on in my house," and called the whole thing crazy lies with no receipts.
Fuck Saweetie, and that's the real tea. That's what's the whole thing is going on with the Migos and all of that. You feel me? But then I say, fuck Saweetie. Now it's crickets. Now it's I'm making it.
But just when we thought this scandal had cooled off, here comes Joe Budden on his podcast, digging the whole thing back up and throwing it right back into the spotlight. Offset didn't just deny the cheating. He basically brushed it off like, "Man, y'all got it wrong." But then DJ Academics jumped in the mix, stirring the pot and tossing out names like Ari Fletcher and even Chrissy and Rock. And here's the kicker. Ari is now hitting him with her own $50 million lawsuit, claiming defamation and emotional distress. Nobody saw that coming, but you know how it goes. When the money slows up, the lawsuits start flying. And let's be real, Ari hasn't exactly been on the radar lately, so it looks like she's ready to secure that bag one way or another. But long before this $50 million bombshell shook the internet, that Saweetie rumor was already sitting pretty in the gossip headlines, rent-free, ever since late 2021. And y'all know why? Because this wasn't just your run-of-the-mill cheating rumor. Oh no, this one had layers. This wasn't just any messy rumor. This was a family betrayal bombshell. See, back then, Saweetie had just split from Quavo after 2 years of flashy date nights, Birkin bags, icy gifts, and Instagram perfect moments that had fans convinced they were couple goals. But in March 2021, TMZ dropped that infamous elevator video, the one where they were caught tussling over a Call of Duty case like it was the crown jewels, and the whole world watched it on repeat. That clip alone had people talking, but what came next? Straight nuclear. Word on the street was that Saweetie hooked up with Offset, while he was still married to Cardi B. The claim supposedly came from some unnamed industry insider. No photos, no texts, no hotel receipts, just pure vibes and chaos. But here's the thing, Offset's cheating track record is no secret. Remember, Cardi even filed for divorce back in 2020 before they patched things up, and that made this rumor spread faster than Offset could drop a verse and hit the studio for the next track. Then came October 2022, when Quavo and Takeoff dropped their joint album Only Built for Infinity Links, and track number 4, Messy, turned out to be the grenade in the gossip trenches. On it, Quavo rapped, "F my dog behind my back, but I ain't stressing, not at all. You wanted the gang, you should have said it. We would have blessed it, we would have blessed it. Now it got messy." That one line was all the internet needed to go full detective mode. My dog plus the gang. Fans immediately started side-eyeing Offset and spinning conspiracy threads overnight. Quavo later brushed it off, saying people were overthinking. But by then, the seed was planted deep. And not long after, he and Offset split paths, with Quavo dropping cryptic interview hints about broken loyalty. By 2023, the rumor had cooled, until Offset threw gasoline on it again, first with the Joe Budden interview, then when DJ Academics went nuclear on Twitch. After that podcast, Ac went all the way off. His exact words: Offset effed Christian, Ari Fletcher, Ide, and Tim Beans from Starlets.
Offset them, what is it? Sweetie, Christian Rock, Ari, this is, yo, Offset was piping out chicks that Cardi was supposed to do music.
He claimed Offset was smashing women who were literally leaving "I love you, queen" comments under Cardi's IG posts, some of them even being Cardi's own friends. Now, Cardi's dealt with wild rumors before. Back when Selena Powell claimed she was pregnant with Offset's baby, Cardi went into full denial mode, but later admitted she learned not to feed lies with attention. In her own words, people will always try to break you down, but in true Cardi B fashion, she played it cool, at least on the surface. During Academic's wild rant, she stayed quiet publicly. No tweets, no Instagram clapbacks. But fans are convinced that behind the scenes she was moving in silence, stacking up receipts like ammunition, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. And that's exactly what leads us to the jaw-dropping alleged naughty tape leak. If the whispers from insiders are true, this leak wasn't some messy accident. It was revenge served ice cold. Calculated. Ruthless. The kind of move meant to scorch earth so completely that no apology tour, no let's talk it out, no PR cleanup could ever patch things back together. So after Academics tossed Offset's alleged smash list, with Saweetie's name blazing at the top, back into the gossip bloodstream, this could have just been another quick-hit internet scandal. But nope, instead, it turned into a 5-alarm wildfire because a video allegedly surfaced, sending shockwaves through every corner of the industry. Now I've got to be careful here. YouTube rules are no joke. But according to multiple industry insiders, Cardi B herself allegedly leaked what's now being called the naughty tape. And the stars of that tape? Allegedly, Offset and Saweetie. If the rumors are as real as the whispers claim, then Cardi didn't just leak it for revenge. She leaked it to make a statement no one could ignore. Allegedly, Cardi was trying to kill two birds with one stone, humiliate Offset after years of messy, very public disputes, and make sure Saweetie's good girl image took a fatal hit right before her next album could drop. But here's where that $50 million bomb comes in. Saweetie isn't just clapping back with a shady subtweet. She's allegedly lawyering up and filing a lawsuit against both Offset and Cardi for defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and what her team is calling a calculated career sabotage. And just when the internet was catching its breath, this whole saga took another wild turn. Because here comes Blueface, jumping on X, formerly Twitter, claiming that Christian Rock also hooked up with Offset. And not just once. This wasn't even fresh tea. He had hinted at it months ago during their chaotic baby daddy drama. But now, dropping it right alongside the Saweetie leak gave the internet the exact chaos it thrives on. Now fans are split down the middle. Some say Cardi allegedly leaking that tape is way too wild, even for her, and way too risky legally. Others, they think it's exactly the kind of scorched earth move Cardi would make without blinking. Others believe this lines up perfectly with Cardi's history of clapping back hard when she feels betrayed. And let's not forget, this isn't her first rodeo in court. Back in 2022, she walked away with almost $4 million after winning a defamation case against blogger Tasha K, proving she's not only unafraid to fight in the courtroom, but also willing to get a little dirty when she's cornered. So, the second the news broke about Saweetie's lawsuit, one name started trending right alongside hers, Quavo. And it wasn't just because of that old messy lyric. Sources close to the situation say Quavo might actually get called to testify if this lawsuit moves forward, and that's where things could turn downright explosive. On paper, Quavo isn't involved in the leak itself, but he is the ex-boyfriend who had a front-row seat to how this whole rumor caught fire in the first place. Industry insiders claim Quavo's been quietly sitting on screenshots, group chat receipts, and text messages backing up his 2021 suspicions that Offset and Saweetie hooked up while he was still with her. And if that's true, woo! Quavo has always felt played. So best believe if he ends up on that stand, he's not about to protect Offset just because they were fake cousins. The trust between all of them has been gone for years, but now it's getting even more tangled. Saweetie's legal team is allegedly exploring whether they can also come after DJ Academics for what they're calling defamatory amplification. Yeah, that's a new one. Basically, they're saying his repeated public claims didn't just stir the pot. They helped cement a false narrative that's damaged her brand in a big way. And let's be real, this wouldn't be the first time Act's mouth landed him in hot legal waters. Remember his beef with Megan Thee Stallion during the Tory Lanez trial? He was dropping so much so-called exclusive info that her lawyers had to hit him with a cease and desist letter. Meanwhile, Offset hasn't exactly been playing it cool through all of this. On that Joe Budden podcast, he took a direct swipe at Cardi's new romance with NFL star Stephon Diggs, saying, "None of my exes upgraded after me." Fans lit him up for that one, especially since the tape leak scandal had just exploded back into the headlines. And if Saweetie's lawsuit gains traction, that little soundbite might end up playing on loop in court as proof of malice and ongoing tension between them all. But here's the real kicker. Legal insiders are now whispering that if this case actually goes to trial, the witness list could be wild. We're talking names from Blueface to Christian Rock, maybe even one of Offset's current flings. The potential lineup? Let's just say it's giving Rolling Loud, but inside a courtroom. And if Saweetie's $50 million lawsuit makes it that far, Cardi and Offset won't be the only ones in the hot seat. Not by a long shot. This could turn into a full-blown courtroom festival of messy witness testimony, leaked screenshots, and career-shaking confessions that no PR team could ever spin. From what's been leaked so far, Saweetie's legal team is building their case around defamation, saying the leak painted a false picture that wrecked her brand image and jeopardized major endorsement deals she was allegedly finalizing. They're also pointing to intentional infliction of emotional distress, claiming the tape was dropped with the sole purpose of humiliating and emotionally damaging her. And then there's the alleged economic damage, canceled contracts, lost performances, and opportunities that vanished overnight. Her team has already filed early discovery requests for digital forensic evidence, pushing to pull IP addresses, email metadata, and cloud storage logs. And if those records trace back to Cardi, whoa, this could get ugly fast. There are whispers that Offset was directly behind that leak. And according to industry insiders, Saweetie's lawyer allegedly has private messages between her and Offset that could prove intimacy did happen. That's something Offset has never outright admitted in public. And if those messages are authentic and make it into court, they wouldn't just confirm years of speculation. They could also give serious weight to her claim that Cardi's motive was personal retaliation. But the possible witness list, that's where this gets insane. Word is, subpoenas could go out to Quavo for what he knows about the original rumor and any receipts he's been sitting on. DJ Academics could be called in for allegedly amplifying false claims. Blueface and Christian Rock might even get dragged in over their own messy public statements about Offset's behavior. If even half of that ends up being true, this trial could have as much entertainment value as it does legal weight. And if the forensic evidence links Cardi directly to the leak, she could be staring down both civil and criminal penalties. In California, non-consensual distribution of intimate images is a crime that can carry real jail time. And even if the criminal side doesn't stick, the civil case alone could be devastating. A $50 million civil judgment could be absolutely crushing. Especially since Cardi's already been dealing with that Tasha K payment saga, and Tasha hasn't coughed up a dime. Offset, on the other hand, risks having his entire brand dragged through the mud. Labels don't like scandal when it threatens endorsement money, and legal payouts like this can make deals evaporate overnight. But here's where it gets even more twisted. There's a rumor swirling that someone inside Cardi's own camp may have been the one who actually sent that tape out, turning this into a betrayal story stacked on top of a revenge scandal. The plot twist? Multiple unnamed insiders claim the leak might not have come straight from Cardi's phone at all, but from someone close to her. According to an exclusive, a former assistant in Cardi's inner circle has been quietly telling people at NYC industry events that they handled certain files for her, including intimate clips, and one of those files allegedly ended up in the wrong hands. What's unclear is whether this assistant was fired, left on bad terms, or was just chasing clout. If that story checks out, it opens an entirely new can of worms. Cardi could still be held liable if the leak can be traced back to her possession of the file, and Saweetie's lawyers could drag her team members into depositions. Suddenly, this isn't just a revenge tale, it's a full-blown betrayal drama. At this point, it's not just looking like revenge, it's smelling like a possible setup. Inside Cardi's own camp, people are split into two camps. One side believes Cardi might have confided in a trusted team member about the clip, only for them to go rogue, maybe chasing a quick payday, maybe trying to hurt her. The other side, they think this whole assistant angle is a cover story, that Cardi orchestrated the leak herself, but now needs a fall person to dodge the legal fire. Interestingly, Offset has stayed completely silent on the assistant rumors. No denial, no jokes, no cryptic posts. That silence is fueling speculation, either because he knows there's truth to it, or because he's trying not to pour more gasoline on a building that's already burning down. If Saweetie's team can prove someone in Cardi's circle had access to that file and shared it, even without Cardi's direct instruction, it still strengthens their case. Under California law, negligent distribution can still count as civil liability if the person in possession didn't take reasonable steps to protect the material. But here's where it gets even messier. There's chatter that another celebrity, someone who's publicly cool with both Saweetie and Cardi, may have been the middleman who slipped the clip to gossip blogs. And if that name drops, we're talking about one of the biggest celebrity betrayals of the decade. Word on the street is the tape didn't go straight from Cardi's phone or her assistant to the blogs. Instead, it allegedly passed through an industry friend playing courier. Now, the internet's self-appointed gossip detectives think they've narrowed it down to two main suspects. First, a female rapper who's shared the same festival lineups as both Cardi and Saweetie over the past year. Second, a fashion influencer who runs in both women's PR circles and already has a shady history of leaking private celebrity material to blogs in exchange for a cut of ad revenue. If Saweetie's lawyers can prove that a third party actually distributed that clip, they could still link it back to Cardi by showing she was the original source, even if it happened indirectly. That would mean Cardi couldn't hide behind the defense of, "I never sent it to Saweetie's enemies," if someone in her inner circle did the dirty work for her. And this is where the conspiracy theories spiral. Some fans believe the so-called middleman move was part of a bigger scheme to pit Cardi and Saweetie against each other, deliberately weakening both of their brands at the same time. Why? Well, think about it. Saweetie's been right on the edge of a major label push for years, and Cardi's gearing up for her next album cycle. Now they're both tangled in a scandal that makes them look petty and distracted. So who benefits from that? The competition. And yes, some of those fan theories are pointing fingers at major rap rivals who've stayed suspiciously quiet about the entire thing. Which is why, even though Saweetie's lawsuit is technically about a leak and defamation, this trial could easily become the stage for years' worth of buried grudges to finally spill out. Industry rivalries and personal betrayals could all come spilling out under oath. But here's what's clear. Whether Cardi leaked that tape herself, an assistant went rogue, or a so-called friend passed it along, the fallout is massive. Saweetie's $50 million lawsuit isn't just about money. It's about reputation, career survival, and sending a loud message to anyone who might try to take her down. For Cardi and Offset, this is a nightmare scenario. Cardi is already waiting on a multi-million-dollar judgment from the Tasha K case, and Offset's solo career is still trying to find its footing after Migos. Now his name is back in headlines, but for all the wrong reasons. And here's the thing, if they settle, the real truth may never come out. Just like that original 2021 rumor. But if it goes to trial, oh, you can bet we're going to see text messages, DMs, and witness testimony that'll make Messi sound like a children's lullaby. And if that mysterious middleman name drops in open court, the internet will implode. The bigger question now isn't just whether Saweetie will win her case. It's whether Cardi's own inner circle might turn on her, whether Offset might throw her under the bus to save himself, and whether Quavo will finally confirm the cheating rumor that sparked this whole saga. Because if even one of those things happens, we're not just talking about a scandal, we're talking about a career-ending chain reaction. So I need to hear from y'all. Do you think Cardi leaked those tapes on purpose? Was this a setup from the inside? Or is somebody in the industry pulling strings to keep both Cardi and Saweetie distracted? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this case is still developing and the details are only getting messier. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications if you're a real one. And I'll see you on the next one. Subscribe and turn on notifications if you're a real one. And I'll see you on the next one.